Alrighty guys, and welcome back. Today we're going to be looking at the shrine yet again. Now, as you guys know, Behavior did release a 1-perk shrine, which actually came out yesterday. You're going to be able to see it in my previous video, and it was Calm Spirits. I believe that was for a little bit of an April Fool's. If you look at the shrine right now, you can see it resets in 6 days. Therefore, I believe it'll be going back to normal, and the shrine will reset yet again at in normal time next week. So looking at these 4 perks, we actually have a Kate Denson Teachable, unlocked, and it's Boil Over. So what does Boil Over do? Now, the reason I repeated Kate Denson twice because I actually stuffed up. It was Jane, but you guys don't know that. Let's move on. Alright, Boil Over. What does Boil Over do? So basically, while you're on the killer's shoulder, when you wiggle, the killer sidesteps 25% wider. Therefore, it's going to be harder for him to try and get through a doorway. It's going to be harder for him to try and walk towards a hook. It also reveals the auras of nearby hooks to you as well, and it obscures the killer's aura reading of hooks within 10 meters. So if a hook is normally visually seeable around a wall, the killer's not going to be able to see that, and you might turn and look somewhere else and try and take you elsewhere. It is not a fantastic perk. It doesn't increase how quickly you wiggle off the killer's shoulder. If it did, then it'd actually be really good. Unfortunately, you have to get caught for the perk to be able to be beneficial, so I kind of steer away from using this, unless you're going to be doing a Savo build, and you're going to be running this, Saboteur, I don't know, maybe Breakdown, and possibly something like Tenacity, Unbreakable, No Mither, something to get up from Dying State. So it's not a bad perk if you're running a special build around it. More of like not a survival build as opposed to a last resort build when you're actually caught. Not a bad perk. I recommend other perks before this. Would I unlock this Teachable? No, I would not. I would skip over it. However, the next Teachable is a Legion perk unlocked at level 30. Now, Legion is notoriously known as the weakest killer in the game. Some people can play him very efficiently. For the vast majority of people, they struggle to play him, much along the lines of the Clown and the Pig, but still, these killers can be played really well in the right hands. Now, some people haven't bought Legion because they're not comfortable with the way he is in his current state, so now is an opportunity to get Legion's best perk that he comes into the trial or the game with. His best perk being Discordance. This is a level 30 Teachable perk unlocked on Legion, and what does it do? When one survivor is working on a Jenny, it does nothing. When multiple targets are on a generator, therefore 2, 3, or players are on the same generator, the generator will explode, pulsate, and it will be glowing a yellowy green color, giving the killer a notification. The killer can look in the bottom right hand side and see the perk, and when you look down there, the perk will actually be lit up. Much like Iron Will. Iron Will isn't lit, then when you're injured, it is lit. So this perk will be lit when there are multiple targets on a Jenny. This is phenomenally good for people like the Huntress. The Huntress is a 110% movement speed killer. She is free to the game as well, so if you don't own any DLCs. And a lot of people recommend Whispers on her. I understand how helpful Whispers can be. It's a 32 meter circumference around you. It's not a Teachable, and you can walk in and out of 32 meters to pinpoint a 45-degree arc of where the survivor will approximately be. I understand that. However, Discordance gives you the certainty, knowing for a fact there are multiple targets on this generator. Now, yes, if they don't stack, it is a useless perk, but it takes 80 seconds to do a Jenny yourself. It takes 45 seconds to do a Jenny with an ally. Now, based on these kind of numbers, people are going to stack on a Jenny after they do a solo Jenny very, very often. You might lose 1 or 2 Jennies pretty quick, but at the same time, you can come back from it. So I do recommend Discordance on a slow-moving killer who doesn't have prep. Prep being somebody like the Hag. On the Hag, I'd recommend Surge instead. This being said, why is Discordance good? Well, the Huntress moves at 110% movement speed. She needs to know where she's going. She doesn't have the time on maps like Temple of Purification or the Red Forest, the largest maps in the game, Hattonfield. She doesn't have the time to look around and go, somebody's around here. Where are they? Let me try and find them. She needs to be able to know, okay, there's multiple targets here. I'm going to go in this direction and get them. When you're versing really good players, they generally split up, so that will hurt you as well, but sometimes they do stack too, and this will give you good information to know where you need to go with your Pop Goes a Weasel. But you'll realistically see a lot of Huntress one-tricks using perks like Nurse's Calling, Barbecue and Chili, maybe the odd Pop Goes a Weasel, Monitor and Abuse, or Shadowborn with Ruin. That's pretty common to see a Huntress use. I actually highly recommend Discordance as it's a little bit off tier for her and not many people understand. Same goes for all killers. It could be great on a Freddy Krueger with Thrilling Tremor. So you know there's 2 people on the Jenny, you baited the teleport in for 4.9 seconds out of the 5 seconds, you then pick Jeff up. Now you seal that Jenny for 16 seconds. There's 2 or 3 players there that can't do anything. So it could be really good, and you'll check any other Jenny that isn't glowing white, you know the other player's there. So you know you got 1 player there, 1 player in the hook, and 2 players over there. So it could be very very good for information. I recommend it on people like Ghostface. I think this is a phenomenal perk for all killers. It's one of the best teachables you can unlock in the game, whether you're a new killer or you're a killer with thousands of hours. If you haven't tried Discordance or given it a go, you're missing out. The tier difference between Discordance 1, 2, and 3 isn't really noticeable. It's 8 seconds, 10 seconds, and 12 seconds. I'm pretty sure it might be getting a little bit of a tweak in the near future, but I'm not 100% sure, so we will see. Highly recommend purchasing this perk, even if you're a survivor main, especially because it's on one of the weakest killers in the game that a lot of people don't want to level up or put blood points into. But if you choose to put blood points into Legion, it'll cost you about 750 to 800,000 blood points. Moving on to the next perk. This is an Adam Francis perk, and it is called the Pebble, or Diversion. Basically, what it allows you to do is you throw a pebble in a set direction, and basically that will give a notification towards a killer as if you were to miss a skill check or do a skill check, such as you fast forwarded into a locker, you missed a skill check on a Jenny, you missed a self-care skill check. It'll leave scratch marks around where it lands as well. It takes 45 seconds to build up. That is a big issue with this perk. You are not allowed to be in chase while it's building up. Therefore, you need to be within the killer's heartbeat and not in chase for 45 seconds. So if you're versing a Michael Myers with Modern Abuse, you're not going to get to use the perk. If you're using versing a Ghostface, chances are you're getting the perk more than once in a trial, very low. If you're versing somebody like a Freddy Krueger, you're not in his heartbeat when you're in his lullaby, so you're not going to get it. So there's a lot of counters to the perk, and it's not even that strong of a perk, which is a bit of a shame. You could use it for some pretty good bait, so it is pretty fun to use, but not very efficient and effective when it comes down to the trials. You might get a little bit of a cheeky bait on a killer that's proxy camping the basement, make it look like you vaulted into one of the lockers, and then when he checks the locker, drop down with bounce landing, do a double BT save. There are some, very severe situations that it can be good, but other situations it can be pretty awful. The next perk is probably the second best thing on the shrine. It is called Infectious Fright. Infectious Fright is by far in my top 5 perks of Dead by Daylight for killer. Okay, what does this allow you to do? When you down a survivor through an M1 or an M2, therefore a Billy's chainsaw down, therefore Oni's smash with his ability, any form of damaging or downing a survivor off your heartbeat around you, not off the down target. So if a Huntress were to throw an axe at Jeff 30 meters away and down Jeff, Infectious Fright would be off her heartbeat, which is 24 meters, around her. It won't be around Jeff. So what this does is it forces survivors to scream. If you're in a locker, you still scream. If you're outside of a locker, you scream. And much like a Doctor's Madness tier up, there will be a bubble above your head. It won't follow you when you move, but it will be there for 4 seconds. So when you put a survivor into dying state, anyone around, so if you have 32 meter heartbeat on the Doctor and you're running distressing, now you have a 40 meter heartbeat and you just downed somebody. You had modern abuse, so you had a 48 meter heartbeat while in chase, and you just downed somebody. Anyone around who screams will be revealed to you. Now that's not how I personally use it. I love this perk on Oni. I love this perk on... Sometimes if I'm running a lethal build on other killers, it can be nice, but I'm a big fan of it on Oni. I'm a big fan of it on Nurse. I'm a big fan of it not on Spirit unless I was running Horn of Ground. There are too many better options. And I'm a big fan of it on Billy. Currently on my Billy, I run either Corrupt Intervention Discordance, Pop, Thrilling Tremor, and Infectious Fright. On my Oni, I'm looking at running Infectious Fright, Barbecue and Chili, Modern Abuse, and Pop Goes a Weasel, with Barbecue being substitute to change with Thrilling Tremor depending on if I think they're going to do Jenny's really fast. But highly recommend the perk. I can't express enough how valuable both these two perks are, and they're both DLC teachables as well. This is unlocked by the Plague. It's also a very good perk on the Plague, and I do use it on the Plague as well as Discordance, Pop Goes the Weasel, and Corrupt Intervention, which is also a Plague teachable. But Plague is a fun killer. She's strong. Not many people have mastered her, and she comes with good teachables, so I do recommend purchasing that DLC when you decide you want to try something new. But all in all, guys, that's going to be all for this week's Shrine. So even if I was a Survivor main, I would highly recommend buying Discordance and Infectious for the time I did decide to go over and play Killer. However, Boilover and Diversion, I might actually recommend saving your Iridescent Shards on. But GG's, guys, and I will see you in the next video. If you guys are watching over at YouTube, I do stream DVD 5 days a week. I do educational Killer and Survivor content. If you think you know everything about the game, you can come over and help me teach the people that don't know everything about the game. But if you think you are still learning, it'd be great to have you back in here as well. So, guys, welcome in. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Stay safe during the times that we have, and I hope you like this week's Shrine, and I will see you in the next video.